Hi guys, I'm Charlie Book Fanatic. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a TBR for a readathon I am going to be participating in August. I didn't do readathons the whole year, and then in July I did the Booktubeathon, and in August I'm going to do the Pokemon Indigo League readathon, and I'm so excited for this because it has been created because of the Pokemon Go hype, and I'm just so excited because it sounds really cool. I saw this readathon on Aprilius Maximus channel. I was so excited for it. I was like, oh my god, why haven't I heard about this? This has been originally created as a blog, which is Read at Midnight. I will link April's channel down below and also the blog where the readathon is hosted. This is actually a 3-week readathon, so it's going on from the 14th of August to September 4th, and that fits nicely with my school schedule because I'm going back to college at the 29th of August, so it ends right after and I can focus on college. But I'm so excited because I don't participate in 3-week readathons, and 8 books in 3 weeks, that is amazing. Like, it's so much better than the Booktubeathon where you have to read 7 books in 1 week and it's so stressful. But there are 8 challenges I'm going to try to accomplish in this 3-week readathon. So the first stop is the Pewter Gym, where you can get a Boulder badge. Read the first book in a series. And you may be surprised, but I had only 2 books on my TBR that were the first books in the series, so very great, very great. And I picked Wolf by Wolf by Ryan Graudin for this one. I think this is a retelling of World War II if the Germans had won the war. There's a race being hosted and our main character wants to win this race and then continue on to kill Hitler. I love historical fiction, but I'm not a huge war story fan. But this is a retelling that sounds so great, and I love the cover of this book, so I'm very excited for this one, and I hope I will love it. Our second stop is Saffron City, where you can get the Cascade badge, a book that might make you cry. For this one I picked Before My Eyes by Caroline Anna Bock. This follows 3 characters, Claire, Max and Barkley. Claire's mother had a stroke and she finds relief in a guy she met online called Brent. She also meets Max, who she also likes. It all gets very complicated. And then there is Barkley, who is a co-worker of Max. And why I think I'm going to cry is because Barkley has schizophrenia and no one has noticed this. And no one has noticed that he hears voices inside his head. And I think this is going to be so exciting and amazing. First stop is Vermilion City, where we can get the Thunder badge, a book that gets thunderous hype. And how can I pick any other book than A Court of Mist and Fury? A Court of Mist and Fury has been written by Sarah J. Maas, and it is the second book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series that now has 6 books to be released and 2 novellas, I believe. And I am quite excited because everyone has been hyping this one up and I have very high expectations of it. I didn't really like the first book, but even people who didn't like the first book loved the second book, so I have high hopes. Fourth stop is Saffron City, where you can get the Rainbow Badge, a book that has diversity in it. And I have a book on my Summit TBR that I really wanted to read, and that is Freakboy by Kristin Elizabeth Clarke, and that follows a transgender character, which means diversity. The next stop is Fuchsia City, where you can get the Soul Badge, a book with a great romance. The book I've picked is Lady Thief, which is the second book in the Scarlet series by A.C. Gaughen. The Scarlet series is technically a Robin Hood retelling, and I have loved the first book, and I thought Scarlet, who is basically the male equivalent of Robin Hood, and Robin himself were a great match, and I can't wait to see how their romance will unfold in the second book. And there was a love triangle, so possibly with John, who was also in the first book. I don't know how this is going to go. Next stop is Saffron City, where you can get the Maas badge and read a book with fantasy or supernatural elements. And I got a contemporary vibe from this, like a contemporary with fantasy or supernatural elements. But I went with a full-on fantasy book, and that is Everland by Spinale, and this is basically a retelling of Peter Pan. I love Peter Pan retellings. I hate Peter Pan the original book, but Peter Pan retellings, yes please. And this one sounds amazing. London has been bombed and destroyed, and the only ones that survived are children, and Gwendolyn and her siblings Joanna and Mikey are one of the only ones who survived, and they have to scavenge for food and But they have to avoid the marauders, who basically are the German army. Then Captain Hook comes into play because there has been a virus spreading around, and Captain Hook is part of the German army and is trying to gain this cure. To see if this cure works, they have to experiment on children, and the children that disappear never come back until one of Gwen's siblings, Joanna, disappears. She gets taken for experimentation, and Gwen sets out to save Joanna. And then she meets a boy called Pete, who has a gang called the Lost Boys and a sharpshooter called Bella, and they have been living underground, and they're going to try and help Gwen to get her sister Joanna back. Doesn't it sound great? That sounds like the most epic Peter Pan retelling ever. The 7th stop is Cinnabar Island, where you can get the Flame Badge, a book with a red cover. Since I don't have any books on my TBR that have full on red covers except for Daniel Steele books, which I'm not really excited to read right now, I picked a book with red on the cover, and that is Rebel Spring, the second book in the Fallen Kingdom series by Rhodes. The person on the cover is wearing a red cloak, and I didn't really like Fallen Kingdoms, the first book, but I still want to continue on with the series because one of the booktubers I really trust really liked this series, and I want to see for myself. Maybe it gets better in the second book for me, who knows. And the last stop is Viridian City, where you can get the Earth Badge, a book with a post-apocalyptic setting. I didn't even know if I had any books on my TBR with a post-apocalyptic setting, so I set out to Google and typed in books with a post-apocalyptic settings, and the first link was a Goodreads link, so I scrolled down and I saw the Blood Red Road, which is the first book in the Dustlands series by Moira, was a book with a post-apocalyptic setting, and I had it on my TBR, so I am going to read that one. Blood Red Road is about a girl called Saba, and her brother gets kidnapped and she sets out to go and save him, and on her journey to save him she meets some people like a guy called Jack and a group of girls called the Three Hawks. These are the 8 challenges for the readathon and the 8 books I'm going to be reading for them. Let me know down below if you're going to be participating in the Pokemon Indigo League readathon, or if you haven't heard of it, I hope you will consider participating. Thank you for watching. Goodbye!